Hello and welcome to the Just Mates podcast, where we aim to destigmatise men not being able to speak up about mental health. Remember to follow our social pages on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at Just Mates Pod. Listen to and subscribe to our podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Anchor and Apple Podcast. All links are provided in the description. In today's episode, we discuss university. So why university? In the last podcast, I think I touched on the fact that very likely that we talked about medication and the fact that I was on, I believe, antidepressants during the final year of university for numerous reasons. But Naf, you said we had a little bit of feedback about medication.
Yeah, so going off on that, one of the things mentioned was we did touch base on how medication can help people, and obviously it's important to keep track of your doses and listen to the doctor, etc. But there are some people who turn away from the medication prescribed and still get better. So that was one of the things mentioned was, can we maybe discuss how you don't have to have medication or tablets or whatever just to get better. You can do it without. So I think it is important that obviously when you are prescribed a cycle of tablets, you should obviously see how that's affecting you, and often more times than not, it takes at least like a week or so for your body to adapt to medication. So if you don't see results in a week, that doesn't mean the medication isn't working. It's just your body adapting to the new substance that's coming in. Mm-hmm. But then I think it's important we discuss that if you don't take medication, there are other ways to overcome these emotions and the issues you're facing. So like simple things like, I think we touched on this on one of the first episodes, was the breathing technique. What was that, Sam?
Wim Hof breathing technique.
That's it. Yeah. So even since then, I've had a few friends mention to me saying they've tried this and it's helped so much and things like that. And just like meditating and a bit of self-reflection and stuff. So things like that can help as well as medication. Medication isn't the only the only
resolution. That's
it. There are other ways to overcome these feelings, but I think throughout the pods we'll probably discuss these issues, and it will relate to many things that we talk about. Yeah. But yeah, today's episode is going to be about university.
Yeah. No, sorry, I'm just going to retract a little bit there. So I was on I think it's called SSRIs at uni. So they're I think they're serotonin rehabilitate. I can't even say it. Reuptake inhibitors. It's generally just antidepressants, and I was on them for like a couple of months, and I kept on going up and down the dosages because I was getting really violently sick.
Okay.
So different people can react differently to them. I found for me that they didn't. You often find, and I have a couple of friends that have tried them, and different types of. I can't remember the exact drug I was on, but it can take like months for it to work, and often during that time of like a month, it can make your symptoms a lot worse. So with me, I was getting like onset of panic attacks. Whether or not that was directly caused by them, but it happened a lot more frequently when I was on them. So I think, and I've had other friends that have tried antidepressants and it's worked for them amazingly. But I think, like you've said, it can be environmental. So the amount of, what I mean by that is your environment. So if you're going through, if something bad is happening around you, there's only like a certain extent that antidepressants will work, if that makes sense. So if it's not just, like I said, I hate the term chemical imbalance, but if it's not just that, then there's only so much that a couple of tablets will do. You kind of have to
help yourself.
Yeah, you kind of have to take the extra step and With me, that was breathing and exercise and socializing and doing other things. You can't just rely on antidepressants. It's not really going to be the best strategy. But anyway, so going on to university, there's kind of really three separate segments of university that we could discuss here, and we obviously don't have enough time to talk about all of them in such depth, but pre-university, so before going to university, during, so over the period of 3 years, or if you did like a master's, or if you failed a year, then obviously it's going to be like 4 or 5, or if you do a PhD, god, it could go on for ages. And then you've got after university, which is kind of something that we really want to home in on, and we don't think it is discussed enough.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, sorry. So let's. Do you want to tackle pre-university first? So we're working like a timeline.
Yeah. Let's go for that then. I think a lot of people actually can probably relate to this. They chose to go to university because they didn't really know what they wanted to do. They did a certain subject in maybe school or college that they thought, well, I've started it, so I might as well like carry on this path and I'll see where it gets me. And everyone's goals tend to be different. Mm-hmm. So some people want to go to uni just to get knowledge. Some people want to go for the social aspect. Some people want to go because they want that degree and they need it to get into a certain job role. But I think there's so many different factors to go into uni, mm-hmm. but there's also the stress that comes with it.
Mm-hmm. I'd advise anyone that's thinking about going to university to take a year out.
Okay, really?
Yeah, unless you're going to be in like a doctor or a lawyer or something. Well, even then you can. But I would, if you're especially in our profession, maybe or business or marketing, anything to do with that, take a year out.
Prior to going to uni or during?
Prior.
Okay.
Prior. I'd go traveling and kind of, I'd hate saying find yourself, but give yourself a little bit of breathing room.
Don't see. It's very strange because I'm not opposed to that, but my opinion's different because I think everyone's timelines work differently. Mm-hmm. So certain people in a certain amount of time want to have achieved a certain thing. And I've got quite a few friends, not that there's anything wrong with it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with not being on the same track. Mm-hmm. But certain friends that I've got that have either they've done a diploma or they've done a foundation degree or something prior to actually going to uni, so they're a year behind or they've taken a gap year out. Mm-hmm. Whereas for me, my mindset was, this is my timeline. I want to complete uni and get it done with as soon as I can, kind of thing, so that I can move forward. Mm-hmm. But I'm not saying that that's a good or bad thing. I think it's each to their own. Mm-hmm. And that is another thing that people probably look down on, like, oh, you're 2 years behind. How can you be 2 years behind? Or you haven't done this. Like, why haven't you done this? And I've finished uni, kind of thing. There's absolutely nothing wrong with having a different kind of goal and mindset.
Yeah, there's absolutely nothing wrong with going straight from sixth form or college or anything straight to uni. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If you want to do it, then do it. But just to put it into perspective for you, I have had several friends that have been at uni for about 5 or 6 years now. Whether or not they've done a master's or not, that's not really part of the problem. But so I got this one friend who went straight from sixth form to university, changed his degree, and he's still at uni. He's been at uni for like 5 or 6 years, and he's changed his course. So it's kind of, if you don't know what you want to do at uni, don't just do it.
Yeah, definitely. I think we should say that again and again.
Yeah, and you're making an absolutely massive decision because of how expensive tuition fees are.
I think it's forgetting about the expense. It's not just the course you're investing in. So it's the social aspect, the change of environment, the social groups that you're going to be in, societies and stuff like that. You're not just investing in a subject. You are investing in like a lifestyle choice. And if you think you're just going in it for the sake of it, don't. If you have any kind of doubt, clear that doubt. And if you can clear it and you're happy to go forward, go forward. If you're still unsure, do not waste 3 years of your life or even a year of your life where you think you'll be all right. Be sure about it.
Yeah, and I've
but that's a personal opinion.
Yeah, and if and to like elaborate on that, if you end up not liking the subject you chose, chances are that you're not going to be invested. And this is looking at the course aspect, obviously. The chances are that you're not going to enjoy doing the coursework, which means a lot of your university life you end up hating doing the work that you do. And I have friends to vouch for this, and they've dropped out or they've got bad grades because of it.
Yep, same.
Yeah, it's just not worth it. I mean, what I did, right? So I did 2 years at sixth form, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I kind of knew that I wanted to do business, and I liked that aspect, and I did like the creative aspect, but I wasn't entirely sure what I wanted to do, and I was kind of thinking, like I've just said to you before the call now, like I'm not very good at finance, so maybe I need to kind of see. Just experiment in different areas of business and see what I'm good at and what I do like and what I don't like. So I did another year at college, at like a separate college, whilst working basically 3 or 4 days. It was about 4 days a week at like a supermarket. And just that work experience and kind of staying in education to keep my mind flow. So I did like finance and business. And then there was this one module that I did in my business course, which was marketing. And it was like the biggest one. And as soon as I did it, I was like, this is what I'm doing at uni. I absolutely love this. And if it weren't for me doing that, I probably would have just taken a business course at university and probably not liked it. So it's like experimenting. There's nothing wrong with like reading. Like there's so many materials and resources available to people that are unsure of what to do at university that make your decision much easier. Go on YouTube, have a look. There's probably like say if you wanted to do accounting, type up accountancy lecture on YouTube and you'd find one. It might not be similar to your university, what they'd actually teach, but then you get kind of like just a feel what you'd be going into.
And if you feel bored or drained by just one lecture, that's going to be your kind of mentality throughout. So then you can kind of get a gist of how you think you're going to cope with the course.
Yeah.
But then bouncing on that, you can sometimes decide to do a course that you think you're going to be happy with, find yourself unhappy with it and change courses. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being a year behind. There's nothing wrong with your mind changing on what you enjoy and stuff. Because I've got someone that I know that did, I think, 3 to 4 years of accountancy or accounting or whatever it's called. And they're now in fashion design.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But they completed their accountancy course, but now they have their own clothing brand.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So, I mean, like you said, you can fuel what you learn to do something else. So I think, just like I think you were mentioning before this call, you were reading a book or whatever, but that was bouncing off of what you've learned, and now you're trying to elevate what you've learned.
Yeah, and I would definitely, if you're unsure of what you want to do some research, because once you come out of sixth form, to me, age is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. I've friends that go into the university mid-20s, 30. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's just what your objective is. I mean, I don't really think there should be a cap on what age you go to university. At all.
No, there was someone in my course that was they were older than the tutor. So
yeah, I had the same thing as well. But yeah, if you're leaving sixth form or if you're leaving college, that to me, apart from post-university, is one of the most stressful times in your young adult life.
Transition period, isn't it?
It's, to me, it was so scary because you kind of go, right, I can go straight into work, even though the job probably won't be as great, or I can go into education, but there's debt associated with that, and it's a big decision, and it's a complete life transition, and that is really scary, and that had a huge impact on my mental health. Huge. So, like, looking around at different careers and not knowing what you wanted to do at the time, for me, I mean, that should be, like, if you think about it from an outside perspective, that should be quite fun, because you could think, oh, I could do this, I could do this.
Experimentation, isn't it? So
yeah, I was looking at, do I want to become a police officer? Oh, I don't know. Do I want to become a car mechanic, or do I want to just go into business, family business, or I don't know. And there were so many choices that I could have taken. It drove me insane. And I think kind of take that, like, have given that time for myself just to back out and have a look at things and see what I like was really beneficial. But it is an incredibly difficult time to have a look. And I think the post-exam, do you remember exams for college or assessments, like all of that jazz?
Yeah.
Blimmin' Emery, that was a lot.
It was a long time ago as well. Makes me feel old.
Yeah.
I think bouncing off of that, the decision that you make to do a certain course or whatever, there's a lot of I don't know if you've ever faced it. I haven't well, I kind of have, but not specifically. Course shaming. So you say you want to do a certain course, and they're like, oh, why are you going to do that? Or like, that's not going to get you a job, or things like that can change your mentality. Well, I was going to do design, but my friend told me that there's no jobs in it, so I'm going to do law. Kind of thing.
That's absolutely stupid. Like,
hold up, wait a minute.
And I was saying to you about this earlier enough. Like, as an undergraduate degree, you can go in and do golf management, surf studies. It doesn't really matter what you do. Like,
no,
really. I mean, a lot of the skills are transferable.
Yeah, that's a big thing that we need to, I think, highlight, that things you learn can be transferable to another sector, another area, or anything really.
Yeah, I mean, I got like a couple. I think psychology, the uptake in psychology as an undergraduate is quite big. It's quite popular. But my friends that have done psychology and did quite well at it, some of them are in management, recruitment. I don't know, other aspects, music, and it doesn't really. I don't want to say it doesn't really matter, because if you go in to be a doctor or a lawyer, then obviously it matters.
Yeah.
Or if if you want to do something in it, I'm pretty confident that I could have gone into marketing even if I did a psychology or just a standard business degree. Like, that's a given. But I wouldn't put too much pressure on yourself, because you can switch courses when you get there. I mean, I had a friend that was just so cheeky. He went in, he didn't get the entry requirements for this certain course right at the university. I can't remember what it was. I think he wanted to do economics, but he joined and he did something else. I want to say finance, but he dropped out of his course whilst at the university within the first week. I'm not saying do this. Please,
no.
But he dropped out of his course and then transferred to the economics course, even though he didn't meet the entry requirements. But since he was at the university, they allowed him to do it anyway.
Yeah. Well, wow. It's a bit of a change. But there's so many people that have done that kind of change.
Yeah. You get a lot of people that just switch things up all the time because they don't like it. And yeah, like you said, Naf, just because you're a year behind doesn't mean you're necessarily that behind. It makes, if anything, it makes you think, or if you're an employer, you could say to someone, sorry, I've got lost in my words here. So
a few moments later,
if you are an employer and you are looking and a candidate, and they're at university for 4 or 5 years, and the candidate says, I switched courses, that all the candidate has to say is they were quite introspective and they looked at the course that they wanted to do, and it wasn't what they wanted to do.
It's all decision making, isn't it? So at that point, I made the decision to do this, which is why I'm here now looking for a job at your company.
Yeah, that's pre-uni. I mean, there's a lot of tension and, well, you know, there's a lot of different things going on. When you the first start, because you went to university enough, didn't you? But did you go into accommodation? No,
see, that's another thing. So people worry about the area they're going to move into. Are they going to stay in a shared house? Are they going to stay on course accommodation? I stayed at home. I'm not going to well, it doesn't matter. I went to University of Hertfordshire, and I live about 40-minute drive from it, or 40-minute drive. So it was beneficial for me to just stay at home, save my money, and I was quite, I could say, hard-working, I guess.
Oh, sorry.
Because I've worked throughout my whole of uni. I pretty much did full-time hours in most points as well. So I worked, went to uni. I used to go to uni, finish, go straight to work, and then, you know, that was my kind of routine. But yeah, I stayed at home.
Yeah. Whereas I went and did full accommodation, but I didn't do full-time working hours. I worked like part-time at the supermarket. And if it weren't for that part-time job, I probably would have been skint for money.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. I did part-time job, but I picked up all the overtime I could, really, most of the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that was good for my mentality to work for myself, and anything that I'd need I could buy, and without sounding like I'm showing off, but I never had to worry about money.
Mm-hmm.
I never worried. I was never skint. I never had an overdraft or anything. I always had money to spend on lunch and stuff. Like, I never had to worry about things.
Yeah, I did. I had to worry a lot.
Why is that, Sam?
Oh, because I drank a lot now.
Oh, right, yeah.
Well, not really. I kind of did the exact opposite. So, like, you know, when you join university and you start drinking, I mean, we probably went out like once a week.
Well, yeah, I don't drink or anything, so I was never in that kind of society.
But like, it was kind of weird. So I kind of drank like once a week, maybe twice if we were lucky, and then I remember the course load in the first year wasn't too much. It was kind of weird, but
first year, that's another thing we'll talk about though. But yeah,
and as the course load went up from second year to third year, the more I went out and my grades got better.
Oh. Was it the drink talking, Sam?
I don't know, mate. I don't know. I think I was just using it as like a reward-based system.
Yeah, I think a lot of students rewarded themselves a bit too much.
Yeah, a bit. Yeah, but if I got like a low grade, which not shagging my own ass here, but I didn't really.
But is that because you drank a lot?
Yeah. No, I wasn't as bad. I had a couple of mates that would go out like 5 or 6 times a week, and I drink once and I'm dead for like, you know, until the next week.
Yeah.
And that's going into when I had a part-time job as well. I'd wake up in the morning like hungover as shit and come in thinking, why am I doing this? Like, why did I go out last night?
Yeah.
But I think having a job at uni is really important as well. It looks good to employers. It looks really good. It doesn't matter.
And as we said, it's good for ourselves. Like, when you start to, at that age, when you're developing as a person from teenager to adult, you're developing your multi-skill. So if you can multi-manage 2 things or 3 things at once, so the stress of a job, I'm not saying part-time jobs are easy, they can be stressful too, especially as I was in retail as well. I worked at a supermarket, but there was that side of stress, picking up things, and then you've got the stress of doing your coursework at home or wherever you are, and then the stress of the lectures. So there's so much to it. But when you learn to manage your time and be able to cope with them 2-3 things, it develops you as a person a lot quicker and matures you a lot quicker than if you didn't have one.
Yeah, I think having a job is really important as well. For, I mean, it's not great if you want to drink on weekends. So I worked on like Saturday and Sunday initially, and a couple of days in the week when they needed me. But like, if I didn't have the job on, if I didn't work the shift on the Sunday morning, I would have gone out every Saturday night. Well, I did.
Yeah.
And that was it made me kind of think, it helps develop responsibility.
Yeah, it influences your decisions, don't it? So know that one decision is going to have an impact on my tomorrow.
Yeah, and this is exactly what I did, right? So I worked first year and second year of uni, and then I did like a marketing placement at a local company back at home, and then I came back and I didn't work. So because the final year is hell on earth for the amount of work that you have. But if I did, I'm confident that if I didn't work in first year and second year uni part-time, I would have found it a lot more difficult to be more disciplined in my final year.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's good for discipline.
Yeah. So, yeah, having a part-time job is really, it can be really not just beneficial to your bank account, especially if you like to socialise and do that sort of thing, and if you want to pay bills. But yeah, also discipline.
But on the flip side, there are some people that can't cope with both things. They want to just solely focus on their uni course, and maybe they can survive with the grants and the loans they've got, and maybe some help from parents or whatever it is, whatever the reason being. There are some people that don't feel like they need a job, and they think it's too much, and there's nothing wrong with that as well. I think what we're trying to say is, for us personally, it's helped our mental health and it's helped our decision making and discipline.
If you're Oxford University, or if you're Bath, or if you're any of the top institutions,
Cambridge.
If you're on any hard course, so like if you're at Plymouth doing, I don't know, I think dentistry was a really good course at Plymouth. You probably don't have to have the time to do a part-time job. Like
no, it is time management as well.
Yeah, if you do have time to do it, like God only knows, I had a lot of time in first year to work, and second year to an extent. Then do it. Don't just sit at home and watch Netflix, because
it's just good for social skills as well. The more different people that you're around, the better you're going to be behaved when you're in a work environment, because then you're not going to have that sense of anxiety of meeting new people, because you've kind of been through that phase. Yeah, there's so many benefits to part-time work, like, again, job shaming as well. Like, just because there could be someone working at Tesco or Sainsbury's or whatever that is doing a high-end law degree course, and just because you're seeing them on a Saturdays working on a till doesn't mean that they're not achieving anything.
Oh God, mate, this annoys me so much. Not from what you just said, but I went to university in first year, right? I came back, and I worked in the summer, like full-time hours. And I came back home, and I was in the supermarket, and one of my mates came in who I hadn't seen from like a year. And he was like, so what trade you in? I went, pardon? He was like, so what you doing? Like, working. And he was like, so you're not in a trade, you're just working in the supermarket. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, so you're just stuck in the supermarket? And I'm like, no, if you look at the full picture, mate, I'm at university.
Yeah, so that's another, and again, we're not disrespecting anyone that works in supermarkets as their job anyway.
Yeah,
but I think this is on the basis that people are judging you from what they see rather than knowing a lot of background. So I worked at Tesco for 5 years during uni and after, until I got I worked throughout college and uni, and then as soon as I graduated, I managed to find the job I'm in now. But I didn't feel any shame in saying that I worked for where I did.
No.
I felt better that I was one of them people that were working on an evening after uni instead of wasting my time.
Yeah. It gives you an ego boost, doesn't it? Really?
Well, yeah, it does. And again, we're not saying that you have to work, but if you do, there's nothing wrong with working for a company like, or just generally in retail, just to get yourself on your own 2 feet.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be associated with what you're doing in your line of work.
No, definitely.
You think about it from like an employer's perspective, that if they see you work, it doesn't matter what you're in. If they see your works in education, that's always good. Or if you want to be self-employed, like you said, now if you're going to develop skills, communication skills with people, you know what it's like to work in a company. So, but anyway, I think we're deferring a little bit from the topic here. We're talking about working part-time instead of uni.
But yeah, it does again, just to reiterate that working part-time like that, there's so many transferable skills from that kind of job as well.
Yeah, like before I got my job working at Morrison's, my social skills weren't amazing. I mean, Morrison's, yeah. Yeah, my social skills weren't amazing. I wasn't confident to talk to people that I didn't really know. And I'm confident that if I didn't have that experience of being kind of forced into that situation,
you wouldn't be making a podcast today.
I wouldn't be doing this podcast, and I wouldn't have the job that I currently have.
Nah, yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's all transferable. Mate, can you hold on 2 seconds? I just need to go for a wee.
What the?
Sorry, I've been holding that for at least half an hour. Yeah. So yeah, working is vitally important. Like at uni, if you do want to, I mean, if you not want to be a doctor or anything, that doesn't really apply, but it can help definitely. Just going on to the subject of like the course stress and stuff. This probably
during uni.
Yeah, this probably more applies to people that are in the second or third year. God, I'm looking at more or less focusing on like. Did you do group projects?
Yeah. The worst.
You always just get someone piggybacking on the group.
Get out the way.
I'm not doing anything.
Have you got the work for this week? I didn't get any time to do it.
Yeah, what were you doing? I was doing drugs in my house and just like fuck.
But yeah, no. There's always that one or two people that don't participate but get the credit.
Yeah, and like going on from and like the coursework and the amount of stress, and this probably does more of it. So in second year, I had quite a heavy lot of group work. It kind of went. First year was kind of some exams, do a little bit of group work, do a little bit of individual coursework. Second year was just like 80% of it was group work, so you're forced to work teams. And then final year was like maybe a little bit of group work, but this is your dissertation and stuff. But the balance of coursework and like managing and speaking to people, like as stressful as it was, it kind of turned me into like a little manager.
Yeah, no. Again, yeah, you learn from it, don't you?
Yeah, but the stress of coursework is something which is, I don't think it's talked about enough.
No, definitely, and it's good you've mentioned that, because my course was not exam based, and people think that, well, hear that and think, oh wow, you didn't even have any stress then. But no, the coursework stress is equivalent to any kind of exam. There's still all the work that we've got to do in the background. We've still got to do all the academic side, the practical side. There's so much to it, and just because it's a coursework based course does not mean that it's not stressful.
Yeah, well, that's the same as mine, mate. I only had exams in the first and second year. I didn't have them in the final year. And even the exams didn't really weight a lot towards my grade. And people really hear that and thinking, oh, you had it easy. It's like, well...
No, I hate hearing that.
I didn't really. And if you look at it from like a practical point of view, exams are not great. They just test your memory. They don't really test your practicality in a sense, and coursework kind of represents to me more hard effort than people.
Yeah, and independence.
Yeah. And if
again, we're not saying that exams aren't hard. That is not what we're trying to say. But I think we're just trying to emphasise that coursework, just because it's just coursework, doesn't mean that there wasn't groundwork going in.
Yeah. There's a lot, and like I absolutely destroyed myself in third year to get a good grade, and the transition that I did from, not to say that I didn't work hard throughout uni, because I did, like the first and second year, but the amount of discipline that's required in final year is something which is just. I think I used this in my interview at my current job now. If I said, one of my lecturers, the first lecture I walked into in final year, said, "Right, thank you for attending. So this is the final year of uni. So first year of uni to second year, the transition is like going from the shallow end of the pool to the deep end of the pool." And then someone put their hand up, "Well, what's the transition from second to third?" He said, "Well, the transition is kind of like going from the deep end of the pool to straight off a cliff."
What the hell?
It's so correct. Yeah, it's just completely. And I was like, he's fibbing. I know it's going to be hard, but not that hard. Oh, I was so wrong.
Well, you got to respect the honesty there.
Yeah, and it was hell. I did do, like, what is it? I remember doing like 48 hours in the library sort of thing.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Just absolutely.
And then you get the twats in the library that don't work.
Yeah, loud people, and I don't know, sometimes the internet cuts out on certain people.
Oh, yeah.
Don't even...
And the biggest scam is paying for your own printing.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, don't.
We're paying $9,000 a year for the course, and we still got to pay money for our printing.
Yeah, it is. That is so true. That in itself is so stressful.
Yeah.
But the final year really kind of made me. Going back to the point of like university and transferable skills, if anything, you go to university, it makes you a lot more level-headed. They don't teach you what to think. They teach you how to think.
Yeah.
And
then you have to use that. And I think I mentioned this before. I said uni's good for getting you into the door, putting your foot in the door, but you've got to carry on and do the walking yourself.
That's so true. Like, if it weren't for university, yes, I wouldn't really have my networking opportunities. The people that I met at uni are great, and people on the courses, they're in really good agencies, really good companies in London, for example, and that's really good side of it. For like future purposes, you never know when that stuff's going to come back around. But yeah, critical thinking is really important, and to kind of have like a balanced argument of things. I'm not saying you can't achieve that by not going to university. No,
but I think it's just that sense of routine as well, isn't it? Like, I think a lot of people that suffer from mental health, they're either one or two people. They like their own freedom and don't want to be stuck to a routine, or there are the people that like a routine and want to know what they're doing, and they want to plan kind of like, I'm going out at 3 o'clock, so I need to be ready by 2 or half 2, so then I can be prepared for 3 o'clock. Whereas then, like on the flip side, there's people that, I'll get ready at 5 to 3, it's fine.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like, it gives you that sense of routine.
Yeah, you should definitely develop that at uni, because this is kind of something that I didn't really go to too many lectures. I'm admitting this now. I hope our employer doesn't hear it, but
you naughty.
I didn't really go to too many lectures in first year, and I still came out okay. Well, good. And then in second year, I kind of missed out a few. In third year, I kind of missed out a few. But I think don't just because you're at university and you're away from your parents or away from home, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't have any responsibility. Like,
no, yeah, exactly.
You're paying for it, and you never get the opportunity again. Go to the lectures.
And yeah, exactly. Make the most out of it. And I think a lot of people during the course, they tend to think, well, I've paid 9,000 for this course, so does that mean each lecture is worth like 300 quid? Or do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying you should work it out like that, but say if you miss one lecture, would you really spend 300 quid on a piece of clothing and never wear it?
That's so true. That's the best comparison.
So, like, the same way you wouldn't just chuck away 5 hours of your day, and, well, maybe some people would, maybe I would as well, but you wouldn't just waste that time. Why are you wasting, like, the $9,000 that you're spending?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I think one of the main reasons we ended up talking about university or decided to do it is I read this stat, and I think I'm going to read it out word for word, if you don't mind, Sam.
Go.
And it's referenced from Fresh Student Living. It is. I'm not sure how recent it is, but this stat it threw me off a bit actually, and it says around 1 in 3 uni students have experienced an issue for which they felt the need for professional help. Student mental health statistics also indicate that 33% of students often or always feel lonely. 8% of students often or always feel anxious or worried. Now that is, think of that as a third of your uni course are worried about something.
Yeah, well, it's obvious. Like, a lot of people that I spoke to in my course, and myself included, were seeking help, who were on antidepressants. Not just.
Did you have that support in your uni?
I'll tell you, it was bloody hard to get, mate. Bloody hard.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I never delved into that. I think I was one of them people that always dealt with it myself. Obviously I had my job and stuff. I just got on with it, and I'm a bit bad to say, but I'm a bit of a bottler. So only recently have I learned to speak up about things.
Yeah.
But I never really looked for that support, and I wish I did. Well, I wish I knew.
At my university, they had obviously everything's interlinked with the NHS, but they had like a GP on campus.
Okay, yeah, I think we had that as well.
And they do offer support, and there was I can't remember, but it was something connected to the uni to help deal with mental health, I think. So you go in and talk. Yeah, no, definitely. So you go in and talk to someone, you book an appointment. That was really open. But to actually get like a doctor's appointment for like counselling and stuff was a pain, because the waiting to see like a psychologist or counsellor you'd have to wait like 2 or 3 months.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And even now you have to do that, even outside of uni.
Yeah. When this was connected to the uni, and obviously there was at my uni there was in excess of probably like 20,000-30,000 students. So, and if you have like a little department to deal with a hefty amount of people, what was the stat you said?
33%.
33%. So, yeah, even that, to deal with that volume of students, it's just they're not built to withstand that. And there's obviously, and there isn't enough, I don't think, at university that's done to kind of tackle that.
Well, you see, if you walked around your uni, you'd see posters of quotes of like people that have been successful for a uni, or someone mentioning a great course, and it's just quoted in quotation marks or whatever. But you don't often see posters that say, "Are you struggling?" or "Do you need any help? Contact the GP across the road." Or I think there should be more of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just so people can see it and think, well, oh, I'm suffering from this, so maybe I need some help.
Yeah,
I think, like speaking on this, it's important that even outside of uni, but obviously uni being the topic, you should look and you should be told and you should know about the support system around you.
Yeah, yeah. And I think I wish someone kind of told me this at uni as well. So obviously I worked my butt off and got like a really good grade, but if you're not achieving something which is up to your standards, or so if you're not getting the grade you want, please don't think that's the be all and end all.
No, you can work on it. You can keep working on it.
Yeah, and I know employers would hire someone who's got a lower grade but more qualifications and experience in other areas. So
yeah,
don't think it's the be all and end all if you're not getting the grade that you really want to achieve. Don't think that.
No, and don't worry so much. I think the main thing is you as well as the academic side and the grades you're getting, you're living through an experience.
Yeah.
So you want to enjoy that experience. So whether you feel like, oh, I'm halfway through and I've not really got anything out of it that I thought I would, just live through that experience and enjoy it, and you might end up doing a lot better through the rest of the course because you've changed your mindset.
Yeah, and that's so true. I haven't really thought about it from that perspective, but I put a lot of pressure on myself in first year when I shouldn't have.
No.
I should have really looked to enjoy myself a little bit more, because you only really get university for 3 to 4 years.
Yeah. And if you spend like half of your time worrying too much, you've not enjoyed that first 2 years.
Yeah. You don't get that time again, and the next thing you know, you're in a full-time job, and then you're thinking, damn it.
Yeah, that level of, I'm not saying freedom as like you can do whatever you want, but the freedom to think how you want to and not being challenged too much in a work environment, take advantage of it, because you take them skills with you. So the more you can manifest and absorb the skills that you're in, the lifestyle that you're in at uni, the better it will be in the long run.
Yeah, and use time at university to kind of, instead of, well, you should definitely focus on your coursework and the social aspect, but use the time you have to kind of look into other areas. Like, one of my biggest regrets of uni is, especially in first year and aspects of second year, I kind of wish that I looked into other areas of, this is my example, but other areas of business and stuff, which is kind of what I'm doing now. So I'm looking into more of finance and investment and all of that stuff when I could have at uni.
I think we haven't touched on it as well. Sorry to go off on that, but with the social aspect, there's so many societies. So if you feel like you're struggling, I swear to you, there was a society for Harry Potter or something in my uni.
We had that,
and like Quidditch or something. I'm just saying, like, there's so many things that can help you take your mind off things as well as being focused on your course. Yeah. So one big takeaway I would say is, during uni, look out for your societies. There's so many different things you can take part in as an extracurriculum, and make the most of the 3 years you're spending there. Don't come out of uni and think, oh, I wish I was a part of the hockey team. You could have been. You could have gone for it.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest things. That I've probably shouted about this in every podcast, but when I did American football, I did it in second year of uni, and one of my biggest regrets is not doing it in the first year.
So I never was a part of anything. So I wish now I went back and I did something. I think there was a skiing team as well. I really wish I went for it.
Yeah.
But obviously you learn from it, and that's why we're doing this episode, is to maybe just advise people on things that they've got around them.
Yeah, and aside from the social aspects, and it was great because a lot of my mates were from American football, but it gave me like a structure and routine. So we'd have practice about 2 or 3 times a week, and alongside my part-time job, that added like structure, and it was really helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And obviously it's good for your mental state, like being in that social environment, doing training, changing your mindset a bit, like, okay, this is the academic side, this is the learning side, this is my job side, the professional side, but here's my fun side.
Yeah, that should really be one of the main takeaways, is like, you're still a kid. Have fun. Just take advantage of this.
Enjoy your course.
Yeah.
Enjoy it as much as you can. And if you're feeling stressed, either maybe contemplate doing a different course if it's that bad, or join a society, and you'll realise that, there's more to uni life.
Yeah, that's good. And I think we should, now we talked about in uni, this is one of the main reasons I kind of wanted to talk about university in itself, is the post-university. To me, this really hits home, because when I left university, I mean, when you're going to university, you have like a structure of education. So you're going through and you're like, okay, this year I'm going to achieve this grade. It kind of gives you a structure to work with when you're in education, and the real world isn't like that at all.
No. It's a massive change. You're in
like an academic bubble, as to say. So yeah, I've got, they kind of give you the structure of, okay, I've got this assessment this week, I've got this thesis over the next few months, and then when you finish, like, yeah, it's all good and you have fun with your mates, and then when you go back home, or when you go to, unless you're on like a graduate scheme, or unless you're on, I don't know, like a maybe did like a placement year and then you got like a guaranteed job after, or something like that. If you don't have that, the time after university is so, I can't even put it another way, but it's so weird.
Yeah, you feel like you've gone uni for nothing. Oh, well, what do I do now, kind of thing. And you shouldn't feel that way. People's I've said this at the start as well, people's timelines are different. Everything happens for a reason. You don't have to achieve things straight away. So I was lucky enough to get a job as soon as I graduated, really. But there are so many people that I know that got a job a year after and they're happier than me.
Yeah, I had a period of so I think I finished I came back home from university in July of 2018, and I came back home and I knew I wanted to do marketing, and I had some experience in it, but I couldn't really find anything to get like a job. I think I got a job in the August, but prior to that, I was doing like labour work or something. And I was doing like little individual jobs and stuff, and it was really difficult because I've just been, all my friends and relationships that I built up there at university, the whole life structure up to that point for 22, 23 years, taken away from me. Yeah. And it was so depressing. And I kind of went into my first marketing job, which I don't want to say too much on the record here, but I absolutely despised it. And it made me question, is this what I want to do? And it was until I got the job at our current company that I realized, God, this is amazing. Thank God I studied what I did. Yeah. But don't put too much pressure on yourself when you're to get like a really good first job.
That eureka moment will come to you.
Yeah, and it will come in time. Be it 6 months, a year for like it was for me, or straight after like it was for Naf, or I don't know, a couple of years down the line. Don't put too much pressure on yourself.
No, just the same way you wanted to enjoy uni life, enjoy your post uni life. Get a normal job. Maybe even if it's not in the same sector or that you done uni in or profession, just enjoy yourself, work up to it, and it will come to you.
Yeah, and post university, if you can't figure out what to do,
there's so many schemes.
Don't just do a master's. Don't do, because that in itself, I'm not digging at master's degrees at all, because they're great. They really are, but. Don't just do a master's for
the sake of it, yeah. Because you are now but you are investing yourself in another year of education. And if you already don't know what you want, unless you're sure that a master's is going to help your profession, don't just do it because you think, I've got nothing else to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and by the end of that master's, if you do choose to do it, you're going to be in the exact same position, maybe just a little bit more qualified.
Yeah, exactly. I think, sorry to move on from that point, the change of environment you face as well after uni. So whether it be you living at home, whether it be you living out in uni, but that transition period of going from such a social bubble where you're spending time with your uni friends, you're doing you're part of a society, you're this, you're that. You then go from being in that environment pretty much 5 to 6 days a week, unless you go home for the weekends or whatever, to then now you're not in that bubble anymore. You're not living out anymore. You're back home with your parents or whatever your situation is. That is a massive change to your mental health state. Yeah. And you should keep on top of things, like make sure that you're still socializing, and make sure you take your time to adjust to things.
Yeah, I think one of the main things, that's a really good point, mate. And one of the key takeaways for me from uni, and what I really didn't realize, is when you leave uni, you don't really have a lot of baggage. You don't really have a lot of, apart from debt, but that's not incurred after 25 grand. So it doesn't really, it's irrelevant at that point. If you're in the UK, that is. You don't really have baggage. You don't have a kid. You don't have mortgage. You don't have any other.
Unless you do have them things.
Unless you do have those things. But think about it realistically from the majority point of view. Just take the time to experiment and find out what you like. And with me, when I left uni and went into a job that I didn't really like as much, kind of got me into a really depressive state. And I kind of, looking back on it now, the things that what I really wish I kind of did at that time was I wish I reached out to socialize with people a lot more, because I did kind of kept in a bubble. And I really wish I just kept on learning.
I felt the same as well, Sam. even though I didn't live out, I spent a lot of my second year and third year seeing people from uni and still talking to them, or whatever it was, whether it be one person or two people or whatever. And then going from being with them nearly every other day or every day to nothing at all. I didn't really talk to anyone about this really. But at the time, I felt quite depressed and quite upset, because I've gone from having everyone around me to nothing at all.
Yeah.
And I really missed it. And I always thought to myself, oh, I'm not going to miss uni. Oh, I'm so glad I'm done with education. I can't be asked for it anymore. But I didn't really absorb the social aspect as much as I wish I had.
Yeah.
And looking back now, I wish I had that support around me where I still stayed in full contact with everyone.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with going back to, I mean, freshers is open to a lot of people if you do it right. So if you have friends that are still there, you can still go to freshers events.
Yeah. Just keep in touch.
Just keep in touch, go and see people. It's really helpful. And I had massive FOMO, because I had a lot of mates from football that would, they were going into second year or third year, or they were doing a master's. So a lot of them stayed at uni. So I kind of, from that period of September to, I don't know, what was it, like November, I kind of went back a number of times. But it's a weird feeling, because when you go back, you kind of feel like an imposter.
Yeah. Because you're not a part of that anymore.
Yeah,
lifestyle.
I remember being at a bar on Freshers, and it was like September of 2018. I remember being at a bar and this kid coming up to me. I didn't know who he was, and he was like, "What course do you do? What do you study?" I was like, "I don't do a course." And I'm like, "What? what do you mean?" And I was like, "Well, I've graduated." And he's like, "Well, why the hell are you here?" And I was like, nothing to do with you. But yeah, FOMO is like a horrific feeling when you finish. It's so bad.
It is, yeah. But I think it's just important that even if parents are listening now, or if anyone that's got siblings that are in uni and have just finished and stuff like that, just keep on top of them as well. Make sure that they're not feeling secluded, because a lot of the times there are warning signs that people are anxious and stuff because they just stay in their room all the time, or they're not socializing again because they've had a massive change of environment where they've done everything for themselves and cooked and cleaned or whatever, and now they're back home with their parents. I think just make sure, or just be there for them. I think
I wish somebody said that to me when I finished uni. I really do, because that to me, it was like 6 months after I finished, I was just in a huge depression, like absolutely massive. And I really wish, a lot of people did check up on me and stuff, but I wish a lot more people were aware that post-university can affect people really significantly.
Yeah. And it is detrimental, and that could sometimes be where issues start with mental health, because they've gone from that massive circle of friendship, or whether you had loads of friends there or not, but to going from that to nothing at all, it's a big leap. It's a big jump for your mental health. It's a big jump for how you see things, your perspective. So if you just have a few friends that check up on you and check up on each other, you'll be glad you done that.
Yeah, and adapting to a new life can take the new structure, and what this actual real world is like can be really difficult. But I can guarantee you, give it a year, and you'll be fully equipped to deal with it.
Yeah, definitely, and everything you've learned during uni, social, professional, work, skills, the course related, everything is transferable. You learn from everything you do. Whether you've done something stupid in uni, you learn from it. Whether you've done something you're extremely proud of, take it forward and don't dwell on it. Just literally absorb everything you've done and move forward.
Yeah, and I think this is because I think I mentioned this in one of the previous podcasts, but humans are they're problem solvers. And they're, if you're anything like me, you're quite objective based, so you like to work towards things. Just because you finish uni doesn't mean that everything's over. You should always, I really wish I kind of kept on learning straight afterwards and kept on I mean, I did, but very little. I kind of thought, I've done uni, I've done learning, like, but you never finish learning, mate. If you really want to succeed and you really want to, if you really want to help yourself, you should continue learning.
And as I said, like, as we both said as well, uni will get you through the door, but you've got to do the rest yourself. So everything you've learned, you've just got to develop and take forward. Uni won't tell you how to work. Uni tells you what you can do to work, and you've got to do the rest.
Yeah, if anything, if you do university properly, aside from like group projects and stuff, it really it teaches you. If you do it properly, it teaches you self-discipline to do things.
Yeah.
And that is something which I know a lot of people that, I'm not criticizing people that haven't gone to uni by any means, but a lot of people that I know that haven't gone to uni kind of struggle with. And self-discipline is really important.
Yeah, really, it really is.
Yeah. But yeah, post-university was hell for me for like 6 months. But yeah, adapting, just realise that you're not alone, that everyone is going through that period. And I kind of wish I reached out to people that did graduate and to see how they were and tackling with it.
Me too, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is a transition period. No matter what you're transitioning from and to, there's always going to be a change of lifestyle, whether you're going from year 6 to year 7, whether you're going from secondary school to college, whether you're going from college to uni, and then uni to the rest of your life, or whatever you're going to do. That transition period, you have to adapt, and you have to make sure that you feel like you're on top of things.
Yeah. No, that's really good, mate. That's a good good example. God, I just did a burp there. It's a good example.
Well, I think there's so many things we can go on to talk about, but I think as a general basis, I think we've covered quite a lot.
Yeah, definitely. But if you are finishing uni, please don't feel bad about how you feel. I don't know how to say it, but just that you're really not alone.
Don't stress, yeah. Talk to your peers around you. Your tutors are there to help you with advice and stuff. Stay in touch with people and just, look after yourself.
Because your 20s, and if you are in your 20s, like this, just because you finish university, your life isn't over. You don't have to immediately go into a 9-to-5 job. Learn to, like I said, you don't have any baggage.
No.
You can go and travel the world if you want to, if you've got money. You can go and test different things. You can start a business with one of your best mates, and take the time to learn. Really take the time to just experiment, and
everything you do will impact your future. So just think about your decisions, and just enjoy your life, because you only get one chance at it.
Yeah, or don't think about your decisions. Just do all you want.
Be free.
Yeah, be free, because as soon as you're in this 9-to-5,
game over.
Shit's a lot different.
Yeah, it's a lot different. You don't have enough time, so use it wisely. Yeah.
Well, I think that will be the end now. Then we've covered a lot, but yeah, hope you've enjoyed. We've been Just Mates. I'm Nafees.
I'm Sam.
And yeah, thanks. Just make sure if you're listening on YouTube, like and subscribe to our channel. It goes a long way. You can see our updates, and we're also available on Spotify and Anchor.
Yeah, and we do want to hear your feedback, and remember to follow our social pages on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at Just Mates Pod. Your feedback is really appreciated, even if it is critical. It's really helpful to us at the end of the day.
Yeah, everything that we're doing now is based on feedback as well, so we want to help you guys. So yeah, thanks for your continued support. But yeah, this has been Just Mates. See you later.
Yeah, see you later.
Bye.
Bye.